Hey, it's Rob from Game Developer Studio. A quick video showing you how you can use these flexible tile sets with GDS editor to make them fit your level. So you can use the GDS editor to recolor the tile sets, modify the stroke weight, and also change the size of the tile. So in this video, I want to show you how you can do it and some of the things that you need to consider when doing so. So once you've downloaded the tile set from the downloads, you can launch the GDS editor directly from the website up on the link GDS editor, and you'll see that this is version 1.5. So if you're watching this video in the future, it's probable that there's a new update, so things might be a little different. But let's go ahead and launch 1.5, and there you go, it's launched. So let's open the Get Started dialog and let's see what it says. So get started. What do we want to do? Well, we're going to load a new scene. So if you've downloaded these files, you'll see inside the folder there's a folder called GDS editor. I'll show you that now. Let's load a new scene. We don't want to make a blank scene. We're going to load a new scene. So when you've downloaded the folder, you'll see that there's a GDS editor folder inside. There's an interior style and a platformer style. If you don't want to edit these, the PNGs are already included in the folder, so these tile sets are good to go. You don't have to do anything to make them fit your game if you just want to use them as is. But I'm going to show you how you can modify them in the editor, so let's have a look. We're going to look for the folder called GDS editor, and inside this folder you've got 4 files, and we're going to want the interior tile set files, not the slices or the readme. So this is a GDS file which opens with the GDS editor. Let's load the platform version for now. So let's open it into the editor, and there you go, the editor's loaded the tile set for us. As you'll see, the tile set's made of 2 parts which are separate components. So we've got the top and we've got the bottom, the fill. Okay, so they're separate because with the flexible tile sets, you've got the opportunity to change tops and change fills. We'll have a look at that towards the end of the video. But for now, let's see what we can do with the editor. So let's put them back to where they were. So the first thing we're going to look at is the targeted color groups. So if we want to change the color of a component, we can select that component here. I'm selecting the fill. And let's go over to the component settings on the right side, and let's open the color sliders. So here we can change the color of the fill on the bottom. We've got various modes and functions for changing the colors. There's lots we can do there. Let's re-establish the colors. The first thing we're going to look at is targeted color groups. In the color groups, we can see here that we've got various color options for changing individual aspects of the sheet. So let's select the planks, and if we use the color slider, we can target and color the planks. The edging, which is the wood around the edge, we can target that like so. And the nail heads, which are these little nail heads here, we can change the color. So you can use any of the color changing functions here to change the colors. So if you use these color changing functions, you can bake them afterwards. So for example, if we changed the luminance and then we change the contrast, you can see that it's reset. So if we go back and we change the luminance, we can bake it with this little tick, and then when we change the contrast, the previous filter is applied and saved. We want to re-establish the colors of just that color group, we can do so. And also for the top, we can select the color group. So for the top, we've got this wood under. We want it to be the same color as the edging. Pick the edging. We've got, again, the nails. You can target the color of the nails as well as the cut wood end. Okay, so that was the color targeting. Let's now take a look at stroke weights. So depending on the size of the tile or the size of your layout, you might find that the stroke weight around the edge of the tile is too thin or too thick. We can change the stroke weights by selecting the part and opening the art object properties from the component properties on the right and using the slider to change the stroke weight. We can select both the platform and the top at the same time using the shift, by holding shift and selecting them both, or by using the rubber band, and we can change the stroke weight on both at the same time so they're consistent across both. So you might not have any stroke weight in your game at all, or you might want a really thick, heavy stroke weight. I'm going to reset the colors, and now we're going to take a look at targeted properties. So let's select the top again, and again with the art object properties, if we want, we can turn on and off that nail head. And if we select the fill, have a look at what properties are available to us on the fill. So for the fill, again, we can turn off the nail head. Which are those? We can turn off this shadow around the edge, and we can turn off the nail heads on the planks. So those features are something that you don't have to have and you can easily remove. Let's turn them back on for now. So once you've made all the modifications that you want to your sprite sheet, to your tile sheet, go ahead and change the colour so we can test our export. Once you've made the colour changes that you want, we're ready to export. So if you want to export the whole thing as an atlas, just hit the E key with nothing selected. So make sure none of this is selected. Let's click off the screen, nothing selected. If we just hit the E key, we can make a PNG image. So let's save it. Okay, so that's been saved. Let's double check. Let's import it to see. Let's check. Here's our new PNG. There you go. That's now the PNG. We can use that as an atlas in our game. If you can't find the E key, we can export the scene area using the scene hotkey up here, which will export it. Make sure nothing's selected. And again, that will export a version for us. So if you've not got access to hotkeys, you're not using the keyboard, you can use the icon at the top. Another thing that you might want to do is export PNG slices of this. So this tile set comes with all the slices set. So we can access the slicing in the scene settings, and we can go to slice scene area. So this file, if you loaded this from the GDS editor file, you'll see that the slices are already applied. So if we select on this, you can see this is the outer left top, and it's 128 by 128. If you've resized this tile set, and we'll talk about resizing in a moment, then these slices probably won't be in the right position. But for now, the tile set as is, these slices are all set up and ready to go. So let's slice them all to a new scene. Okay, so it's sliced them into a new scene for us. So let's go to that new scene on the scene tab. And as you can see, these have all been sliced up. Seems to have done it twice. So what we can do is have a little test. Let's turn on the grid. Have a little test to see if everything lines up. Everything seems fine. Okay, there, as you can see, those tiles make for perfect platforming. One thing that I did forget to mention was that down at the bottom of this tile set specifically, other tile sets might be a bit different, you'll see that there are variations. So we've got variations for the left and the right and the bottom edges as well as the fill. So one thing that I don't like about using tile sets in games are repetition. When you see that everything is repeated across tiles, so you can use these little tiles to break the repetition. So in here, if you're clever the way you paint the tiles onto your scene, you can sort of change out the standard tile for this tile and just intersperse them to break apart the scene. The same goes for the sides and the edges. Okay, so that's what you can do with these tile sets. There's a couple of extra things that I wanted to show you if you're still around. We can swap out these tiles with other tiles from the site. So if we go back to the site, you'll see that there are other GDS editor tile sets with a similar pattern. For example, this tile set 3, tile set 1, tile set 2. These tile sets have a similar pattern to this wood tile set, this stone tile set. We can swap out and overlay the tops. So if we've got the stone tile set as well, for example, we can bring that into the editor. So I'll show you how to do that now. So I'm back in the editor and I've got the wood tile set loaded, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this tile top with the stone tile top from the one we saw before. So I'm going to navigate to the stone tile top folder, which I've got here. I'm going to go to the GDS editor file inside the stone interior tile set, and I'm just going to load in the tile set. So I'm loading that in there, and I don't want this fill. So let's get rid of this fill. So likewise, this tile set, the stone tile set, is made up in a similar fashion to this one. So let's delete this fill, and let's grab this and let's set it to 0, 0, the X position 0 and the Y position 0. And as you can see, this overlays nicely. So this particular stone tile set might not fit great with these, but maybe if we change the colour. Change the colour of that a little bit. So let's go ahead and slice it. Slice the scene area. Slice the new scene. There we go. Wrong scene. As you can see, we've got our tiles. For some reason it's sliced twice. Have to update that. Let's try and make a quick platform again. There you go. It's made a perfect new type of platform. So with these modifiable, flexible tile sets from the editor, using the editor, you can sort of mix and match between other tile sets. I'm going to try and keep the same pattern, that's it, this pattern, across tile sets, so you will be able to swap out tiles. So that's modifying tiles. Another quick thing that you might need to know is about resizing tile sets. So because these tile sets need to be sliced accurately, if you resize them, let's grab it for example, and you just randomly resize it like so, you'll see that it keeps the same resolution, but you'll get this nasty pixel tearing between tiles. That's because you need to make sure that when you resize a tile set, and this goes for any tile set in any editing program, not just GDS editor, the tile set, the width and the height of the tile set need to be multiples of the amount of tiles that go across and down. Otherwise, when you slice the tile, either in the editor or when your game engine reads the tile sheet and slices it, you'll get bad pixel tearing issues. So pixel tearing issues are these lines that go across. That's because the slicer is reading floating point numbers on a tile sheet on pixel numbers that need to be whole integers. So the answer is to make sure that the width across the tile set is a multiple of whatever it is here. So we've got one of whatever tiles are in the row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this tile sheet's got 7 tiles across and 11 tiles down. That means that the width and the height, let's open the width and the height. So the width and the height need to be multiples of 7. I'm going to use the percentage. So let's use the percentage resize, and I'm going to resize it by 200%. No, they're not selected. Okay, so you can see that these are now, this is double the size, so each one is 256 by 256, and you'll see that the pixel tearing issue didn't happen because it's kept the multiples. But if you do resize, you'll see that the slices are no longer set. So you'll either have to resize. You'll have to resize with the column, the row, 7 by 11, and now it's resized. But you've lost the names of the tiles, so perhaps it's easier just to resize the pings. In the next version of GDS Editor, when you resize, the slices will also be resized. So that's how you use the flexible tile sheets from Game Developer Studio with GDS Editor. If you've got any questions, just leave them in the comments or connect on Discord. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.